Jamie, it's really good to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for
There's a lot
having
of
me.
excitement around your campaign. You've raised tons and tons of money. One thing I've noticed, which is really interesting, because South Carolina is a pretty red state, Donald Trump is still pretty popular there, is you don't mention him by name when you are out there campaigning. I guess the question I have to you, and I asked this of Congressman Clyburn the other day, and he didn't quite have the answer, and hopefully you do, is who is the voter that votes for Donald Trump and then votes for you?
Well, I really don't ask people about whether they're voting for Donald Trump or Joe Biden because I'm running for the U.S. Senate against Lindsey Graham. And so I hope the voter that is voting for Jamie Harrison is a voter who wants to bring hope back to South Carolina, who is tired of Lindsey Graham going to Washington, D.C., trying to represent D.C. interests and not representing the interests of the folks in South Carolina. We live in a state, Katie, where 38% of rural communities don't have access to broadband. So they can't do what we're doing right now. We live in a state where 14 of our 46 counties had no OBGYNs. Now, I know you just had a baby last year. We had a baby as well. And so 14 of our 46 counties, there were not one OBGYN in the entire county. 250,000 people in the state don't have health care because Republicans have refused to expand Medicaid. And so I think what you're seeing in my race is a hunger for something different. They're a hunger for a senator that's going to represent all of the people of South Carolina and not just a select group. And so that's why we have garnered the attention that we've gotten. Now, who people vote for president, yes, I support Joe Biden. But in the end of the day, for me, my number one focus is this race for the U.S. Senate.
You found my one of my soft spots with maternal care. Let me ask you this another way. There are voters out there in your state who are going to vote for Donald Trump and are potentially going to vote for you, but might be worried that as a Democrat, you're going to do everything you can if he wins re-election to stop him from enacting legislation. What do you say to that voter to convince them that you are a better bet than Lindsey Graham?
Well, I want to be clear. If Donald Trump is trying to do something that improves South Carolina, then I'll work with Donald Trump and I'll support him. But if Donald Trump is going to do something that is detrimental to South Carolina, I will fight like heck against him in every way I can in order to not have that happen. Lindsey Graham can't say that. Lindsey Graham allowed this administration to take $11 million from a military base in Beaufort, South Carolina, to use it for some administration project. We had two senators before Lindsey Graham, Strom Thurmond and Fritz Hollins, and we didn't always agree with Strom and Fritz on everything. But the one thing that we knew about both of those senators, they would always put South Carolina first. And I don't think they would have allowed, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Ronald Reagan, or anybody to take money from military families to use for another initiative. And Jamie Harrison is going to be cut from that same cloth, that South Carolina is always first. That's who sent us to Washington, D.C. to represent their interests. Lindsey Graham only represents his own interests. And that's why we have built this movement here in South Carolina that is in focus on sending him home, bringing hope back. And I hope folks will join us. Go to jamieharrison.com, sign up and volunteer and help us out. Help us be a part of bringing hope back to South Carolina.
Well, let me ask you this. You have tons and tons of money. How are you using it to get at those voters who haven't found it worth it to vote in past elections? There are millions of those voters all around the country, and quite a few of them in your state as well, who just think that politicians don't do anything to improve their lives. What are you doing to reach those voters and to convince them that casting a ballot matters?
Yeah. Well, Katie, I have this wonderful ad. I call it my dirt road ad, which I met this African-American man years ago who basically said, a pox on all of your houses. I just want my dirt road to be paved, and neither Democrats or Republicans have paved my road. Well, that dirt road is symbolic of the broken promises that folks have heard around the state for a long time from both Democrats and Republicans. And this is how we've been trying to be different in this race. Not only are we saying what we're going to do once we get get in office. We've actually been doing things in South Carolina on the ground to help people right now. I have an initiative called Harrison Helps, where I've been helping folks who are suffering through COVID. I've been working with women battered because of domestic violence. We've been helping get school supplies for kids whose families, whose parents have been laid off because of COVID. This is about showing who we are and not just talking about it, showing it. And I think that is the thing that is most powerful about this campaign and what is different than any other campaign, not only here in South Carolina, but across this country.
You know, it was striking to me to hear that there are so few OBGYNs in that many counties in South Carolina. I hope, regardless of whatever happens in this election, that sort of thing changes for the sake of the mothers, but also the sake of the babies as well. That is very important. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Jamie Harrison, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate your time.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.